When I arrived at Julian's place, a strange woman was lying on the couch. He said she was a friend who had just returned from overseas, staying for a bit and also attending our wedding. But I wanted to say, this wedding, it seemed, was no longer necessary. After opening the door and seeing the scene before me, I froze for a moment. Julian, however, acted completely normal. He guided me to the entryway and took off my heels. Then, from the cabinet, he habitually searched for my pink slippers. But after rummaging around, he couldn't seem to find them. I patted his shoulder, gesturing for him to look in the direction I was pointing. When he saw, he gave a doting smile. Then he introduced her to me in a low voice. I forgot to mention, this is Celeste, a friend from abroad. She came specifically for our wedding. After saying this, he seemed afraid of waking the person on the couch. He walked lightly to the couch and retrieved my slippers. Then he carefully wiped the dust from my feet and slipped the shoes on. Perhaps it was because another woman was present in Julian's home, but I felt extremely uneasy. So, I tried to provoke the woman on the couch, making my footsteps noticeably loud. I hoped I could start a fierce argument with her. That way, I'd know whose side the man I was about to marry would take. Clearly, Julian, who was a few years older than me, noticed my childish ploy. He shook his head fondly, patted my head, and then carried his things to the kitchen. He treated my behavior as a playful bid for attention. Seeing him like that, I got even angrier. We rarely got to see each other. He'd finally had a few days off since Julian's company had been doing well recently. I had originally planned to treat him well tonight. I had even picked out the most expensive and exquisite lingerie at the store. I'd spent 4 hours getting ready at my vanity table, all for tonight's meeting. But this strange woman before me had ruined everything I had carefully prepared. Yes, I went out to the balcony and smoked 2 cigarettes. By the time I returned, the woman was awake. She sized me up, then provocatively raised an eyebrow. "Hello, you're Hazel, right?" I didn't respond. I simply didn't like her. But she seemed to treat me like a child too, letting out a snicker through her nose. Then, barefoot, she walked over to Julian and whispered about me. I couldn't hear, so I asked loudly, "What are you two talking about me for?" Then, they both turned around simultaneously. One held a hulled strawberry, looking at me with doting eyes. The other chewed a strawberry that felt like it should have been mine, as if watching a show. "Are you sure she's only 8 years younger than you? She looks like a 15 or 16-year-old kid to me. Seriously, you're not trying to fool a minor, are you?" After saying this, she burst into laughter. It seemed incredibly amusing to her. She even tried to playfully slap Julian's chest, but turned his body, dodging her. For a fleeting moment, her face darkened considerably, but she quickly returned to normal. Julian walked towards me with a few strawberries, his eyes fixed on mine. Then he said, "My girl will always be a kid in my eyes." Then placed a strawberry in my mouth. He whispered, "She just loves to joke around, she's not a bad person." My heart skipped a beat. Julian rarely complimented anyone. And ever since I walked in, I had overlooked a crucial detail. Julian's home was not somewhere he allowed others to enter. Let alone women, even his closest friends were rarely invited. Yet, he permitted this woman in front of me to come and go freely in his home. Was this woman truly so important to him? A provocative sweetheart, smoking isn't good for a girl's health. And doesn't like other smells in the house. Be a good girl and quit. She lectured me on what to do, acting like an elder looking down on me. Besides my smoking, she also mocked my outfit and makeup. TSK, the style is too camo. And the material looks cheap. Pink blush doesn't suit you, you should use pink. TSK, never mind. Your current style doesn't match Julian's at all. When I have time, I'll personally give you a makeover. She thought I was Julian's kept woman, and even if I was marrying Julian, in front of such a prominent family, I'd surely be a tame kitten, afraid to cause trouble. But I wasn't. I, Hazel, would never let anyone walk all over me. "Ma'am." The moment the address left my lips, her face tightened. "Ma'am, are you judging me because you think I'm not good enough for Julian? Or are you implying you're a better match for Julian than I am? Then why didn't he marry you? Are you too old? How old are you this year? 38? 40? Or actually 50, but 68 after all that cosmetic work?" I spoke voluminously, rebutting her words one after another. Julian just watched me, smiling. Then he looked at the woman with a triumphant, almost bragging expression and said, "Celeste, you really can't mess with her. Her little mouth, it's quite sharp." I felt like Julian was complimenting me. His face showed nothing but helplessness and doting affection. My tail was practically wagging with triumph. I was certain I had won. But then, it seemed I hadn't won after all. Because when Julian's parents called, they recognized Celeste first. I, the prospective daughter-in-law, was left on the sidelines. A ripple of jealousy was sensitive. He immediately sensed my mood. He quickly hung up with his parents and told Celeste to stay at a hotel. Hearing that Celeste was to stay at a hotel, his mother, Eleanor, extended an invitation for Celeste to come to the family estate and keep them company for a few days. I got a little agitated and blurted out, "I can keep you company too. I came specifically these past few days not just to see Julian, but also to spend time with you." His mother waved her hand, smiling. "Hazel, you just focus on spending time with Julian. My D-bones can't keep up with you young folks' newfangled activities. Celeste can keep me company. She sings traditional operatic pieces, and that helps me relax." I felt low and just murmured, "Oh." After left, Julian embraced me, trying to comfort me. My mom raised her since she was little, and the traditional operatic pieces she sings were taught by my mom. My mother just misses her goddaughter, that's all. Goddaughter? Julian responded indifferently. Celeste's parents passed away, and we grew up together. But don't worry, we're simply like siblings. Besides, our family showed her kindness, and she only wants to repay it, not marry me. My face twisted in a knot. The more he spoke, the more unsettled I felt. Seeing my expression, Julian suddenly laughed. He carefully cupped my chin in his palm, teasing. "Hazel, are you jealous again?" I nodded, confirming his suspicion. He knew I was prone to jealousy, so ever since we started dating, no other women had ever been around him. He'd always fulfilled his role as a fiancé and boyfriend. But I still tended to act out, often going to Julian's company to ask the receptionist about him, or inquiring with his friends. Only when I received a satisfactory answer would I feel at ease. He had already grown used to it, even saying he liked this intense kind of love. And he became increasingly good to me, which is why we reached the point of marriage. I just never expected Celeste to suddenly appear. It caught me completely off guard. I sighed, and when I looked at Julian again, he had already, without me even realizing it, undressed me. His eyes showed a look of shocked delight. "Baby, you look beautiful tonight." I secretly reveled in it. The purchase wasn't for nothing. The in-laws quiet, of course, I wasn't going to give Celeste and Julian's mother a chance to be alone. In my opinion, Celeste was a ticking time bomb. Her sudden appearance couldn't be for a good reason. 80% likely, she wanted to sabotage my wedding. So, the first thing I did after getting up was to go to the family estate. The only thing was, I went empty-handed. I arrived with nothing. Celeste, on the other hand, carried an insulated container in one hand. In the other, she held Eleanor's favorite pecan pralines. And she kept calling her godmother. The two sat in the courtyard, casually chatting about Julian's childhood. Getting animated, she even started imitating him, making Eleanor laugh heartily. Then they started talking about the girlfriends Julian had had over the years, saying each one was worse than the last. When I was brought up, Eleanor also pursed her lips in disapproval. She quietly took Celeste's hand and said, "It's such a pity, Julian, that boy is blind, he wouldn't want such a good girl." Celeste feigned indifference. "Godmother, please, why are you saying such things? Julian likes that little girl, he protects her so much it's like he's afraid she'll melt. Don't let Julian hear this. If he does, he'll definitely get upset with you." Eleanor then shook her head helplessly. "There's no changing his mind, no one can outstubborn him." I stood outside the door watching, an indescribable feeling in my heart. It was as if, with Julian and me together, apart from our own happiness, no one else seemed to support us. But this complex emotion lasted only a moment. More than anything, it was anger. Celeste was no simple character. She knew the Shin family too well. If she wanted to stop our wedding, she'd have hundreds of ways to do it. But what could I do to her? After all, only Julian would protect me. If his heart wasn't on my side, then I'd be in big trouble. My face flushed, and my feet felt as if they were rooted to the ground, unable to move. After a few minutes, an idea sparked in my mind. To win over Eleanor, I called a friend who owned a Western restaurant. I had them prepare a table full of classic Southern comfort food for Eleanor, because I had heard Julian say once that his other was from Shanghai. I guessed she must miss the taste of her hometown. When the dishes were all served, Eleanor's eyes indeed lit up. She nodded gracefully, "You've gone to a lot of trouble." I proudly introduced each dish to Eleanor. Meanwhile, in a corner of the table, sat the forgotten, cold Eleanor's favorite pecan pralines. I was ecstatic. Even if Eleanor was only happy for a moment because of me, that meant she didn't dislike me that much. And our mother-in-law relationship wouldn't be too bad. Once I had completely won over Eleanor, Celeste's attempts to sow discord would be useless. Thinking this, I even became a little smug. Hazy Eleanor ate very happily and chatted pleasantly with my friend next to me. But I wasn't quite used to classic Southern comfort food, so I went to the restroom. As I passed the backyard, I saw Julian's car. He had clearly said he couldn't make it today, that Julian's company had an urgent matter requiring his presence. But how did he get here? I tiptoed closer and then saw Celeste. She held a cigarette in her right hand, her left arm crossed over her chest, talking to Julian on the bench. Yesterday you were lecturing my girl about how smoking is bad. How come you're smoking again? As she spoke, Julian took her cigarette and took a few puffs himself. My heart sank. Julian smoked too? I had no idea. But what shocked and angered me even more was that Celeste was crying. The critical thing was that she was crying on Julian's shoulder. Julian, very aware of boundaries, kept his hands stiff in the air, offering no physical comfort. He just softly tried to persuade her. She's just a kid, why are you arguing with her? Celeste sobbed. I'm not a bad woman. Julian, you know I've never wanted to interfere with your marriage. Seeing you happy is enough for me. But, what right does she have to come to Godmother's and put on such a show? As if I actually wanted to steal you away. Now Eleanor even misunderstands me. She said there. If I wanted you, all these years, I could just crook my finger and you'd be mine. Would it even be her turn, that young lady? Julian was amused by her. Alright, if you crook your finger, I'll go. Stop crying, okay? My mom is still waiting for you to sing traditional operatic pieces for her. About half a minute later, Celeste composed herself and let go of Julian. Then she thought for a moment and said, never mind. For your sake, I should probably have a proper talk with your girl, lest she suspect me, and turn the house upside down. Julian stomped out the cigarette, his tone inexplicably colder. Whatever you say. The paperweight before leaving the family estate, Celeste called out to me. She skillfully led me to a tea room. Then, like a hostess, she told me not to be shy and to sit wherever I liked. I was speechless. Indeed, I had never been to this place before. I didn't even know Julian had a passion for calligraphy. The walls were covered with his writings. Celeste didn't state her intentions directly but first gave me a tour, pointing to an early scroll with his writing that wasn't quite standard. This is something Julian wrote when he was 8. TSK, no talent. Then she pointed to the one by the door. He wrote this 3 years ago, still no talent. Even his godfather advised him to avoid ink and paper, but he's as stubborn as ever. But what's the use? No talent is no talent. No matter how much he likes it, he'll never create a masterpiece. Celeste seemed to be hinting at something. I understood. So, my face was a thundercloud. I even wanted to pick up the heavy marble paperweight on the table and smash it against her forehead. But I held back. It was the first time I had ever suppressed my temper. I'd pin this on Julian. Celeste saw that I was angry, and a smug expression appeared on her face. Then she finally spoke. Little girl, I hope you don't misunderstand. Julian and I are just like siblings. It's not what you think. Rest assured, I won't steal him from you. At least not while he still likes you. After saying this, she remained smug. There was no intention of clearing things up at all. Seeing her expression, I instantly couldn't stand it anymore. My gaze fell on the heavy marble paperweight, a hint of malice in my eyes. Then, the next time she spoke, I rushed to the table, grabbed the heavy marble paperweight, and swung it at her head. Hazel, what are you doing? Blood flowed from Celeste's forehead, but she looked even more triumphant. In that moment, I finally understood. Indeed, experience triumphs over youth. The rupture, it's nothing. Hazel is just a child. She was angry, I understand. In the hospital, Celeste lay on the bed, her forehead covered in bandages. A generous expression on her face, she magnanimously forgave my transgression. Eleanor nervously gripped Celeste's hand, too angry to speak. Julian was also suppressing his anger, but he didn't blame me in front of others. Instead, he took my hand and apologized to Celeste. Hazel surely didn't mean to, please don't take it to heart. I'll treat you to dinner sometime. Oh, and by the way, didn't you like that secluded lakeside property? When I get back, I'll buy it as an apology gift for you. Celeste smiled and didn't refuse. Then I'll thank you in advance. After a few more words, Julian drove me home. All the way, he didn't say a single word. Seeing his attitude, I was genuinely scared. So I proactively began to explain what had just happened. I said, Celeste provoked me first. She wasn't trying to explain her relationship with you at all. She was deliberately trying to anger me, even setting a trap to get me to bite. She was so malicious, willing to hurt herself just to make you think I'm a cruel woman. You two grew up together, and you never noticed? She hides it so well. As I spoke, I grew even angrier. Gritting my teeth, I even thrashed the seatbelt in my lap as if it were her. But a sudden heartbreak instantly unnerved me. I turned to Julian. He was clearly furious. I thought he, like me, was angry at Celeste's tactics and her two-faced personality. But he said, "Hazel, that's enough." He was blaming me. His tone was filled with helplessness and anger, along with emotions he had suppressed, ready to explode. Staring at me like that, I felt utterly lost. As far as I could remember, it was the first time he had been so angry. He had never even called me by my full name before. Today, twice in a row, my eyes immediately reddened with grievance. But he acted as if he didn't see it, simply venting his rage. "Hazel, stop acting out. Haven't you caused enough trouble these past 2 days? You're young, yes, you can make mistakes. But haven't you gone too far? This was attempted murder. What were you thinking? Do you really think I'll clean up your messes forever?" What did he mean by that? Was he complaining about my acting out, feeling unbalanced? Yet, even though his words made me uncomfortable, I still patiently tried to explain to him. "No, didn't I just tell you? This isn't my fault." Celeste was the one who. Julian raised a hand to stop me, saying in a tone of weary compromise. "Fine, it's not your fault, it's mine, okay? The whole world is bad, and you're the only good person. Happy now?" I guess I brought home a little empress, I admit it. I didn't like the way he was talking. He was clearly just spouting angry, useless words. "That's not what I meant, Julian, I didn't say that." But was no longer listening to me. He suddenly went wild, slamming his hands on the steering wheel and yelling at me. "Hazel, can you please grow up? For you, I gave away a multi-million-dollar house. What more do you want? Can you please stop causing trouble for me?" I was completely terrified. His sudden outburst left me breathless. This side of him was unfamiliar. After several gasps for air, I started fumbling with the seatbelt bu. Cole, my hands trembling. I unconsciously mumbled, "I want to get out of the car, I want to get out." At that moment, Julian seemed to come to his senses. "Hazel." "Right, Hazel? I didn't mean to yell at you just now." I slapped his hand away and yelled at him. "Don't touch me. I'm going home." Click. The seatbelt unlatched. I successfully got out of the car, met by the merciless downpour. It lashed at me, stinging my whole body, but I was suddenly grateful. Thank goodness I made it in time. I was just soaked by the rain now. Otherwise, I might have endured a lifetime of storms. Feverish, I had a high fever. In my haze, I heard Julian trying to reason with me. "Hazel, Celeste will be going abroad eventually, she won't be a stumbling block between us. Please don't dwell on her, okay? Also, it was wrong of me to lose my temper with you today, I lost control. Hazel, please don't be angry anymore, okay? What do you want? I'll buy you anything." I squinted, pretending not to hear. But he seemed to have no intention of stopping. "Hazel." I sighed and laid out my cards. "Julian, let's not get married." His body suddenly tensed when he heard that. He quickly moved my face to look at him. "Hazel, what kind of joke is this? We just had a fight, how did it escalate to calling off the engagement?" I opened my eyes and looked at this man who was both familiar and a stranger to me. "I hardly recognize you anymore. I didn't know you smoked, or that you loved calligraphy, or that beneath your calm exterior, you hid such a frightening side. Julian, I'm 24, and in your 32-year-old eyes, I'm just a young lady. So, for the 4 years we've been together, you've been unconditionally good to me, and you've honored everything I've said. You made me feel like I could be a child forever, never growing up. But, Julian, I can't stay a child forever, or avoid pain forever. I imagined what might hurt me, what hardships I might face. Boo. I never thought the first stab would come from you. Perhaps it's also because I rely on you too much. That's why the wound you inflicted hurts so much more. Forget it. Let's not get married. I don't want to wonder if another sister or friend will suddenly appear by your side, nor do I want to know if you'll lose your temper with me again after this. I can't handle it, my heart is too fragile. Let's just break up." After saying this, I let the tears at the corners of my eyes stream down behind my ears. Julian's grip on my hand tightened even more. "Hazel, what are you saying? I don't understand." I sighed. "If you don't understand, then forget it. Out of the house found me and apologized to me again. Escalating things to canceling the engagement is a big deal. It's unnecessary." Just pretend I was teasing a child, and don't be mad at me anymore. Julian was making creamy seafood bisque, running between the bedroom and the kitchen. Hazel, Celeste didn't mean any harm. She's always been like this since she was little, she likes to playfully tease kids. She just thinks you're cute and was deliberately teasing you. After saying that, he ran back to the kitchen to check on the creamy seafood bisque in the pot. He thought bringing Celeste to apologize would make me forgive her. But how could I? He might not see if Celeste was sincere or not, but how could I not? I stared intently at Celeste, who grew a little uncomfortable. Then she feigned attentiveness, tucked my blanket around me, and continued. All right, Hazel, when you're over your cold, I'll take you out. No more being angry, okay? A magnanimous expression on her face, she forgave herself on my behalf. After that, she started wandering around the room, touching his desk lamp, then stepping on his rug. Every now and then, she'd exclaim, Ah, Julian, this rug is the one we found at a vintage market in New City when we were 23, right? You still have it? Julian smiled gently. Yes, the quality's good, so I've kept using it. Then she looked at a small figurine on Julian's desk, giggling. Oh my god, this figurine looks just like me. Can I have it? Julian stubbornly shook his head. No, Hazel bought this for me. Celeste let out an unhappy oh, and continued to look around Julian's house. When finished the creamy seafood bisque, she sat down and habitually ordered him around. Spoon. Here you go. Any side dishes? I'll get them. Bring me some tissues. Okay. They were as familiar as an old married couple. I half lay on the couch, like their sick child. It was somewhat ridiculous. I let out a few bitter laughs, I couldn't take it anymore. So I threw a throw pillow in their direction. Get out. Get out. Celeste muttered sarcastically. This is Julian's house. If anyone's getting out, it should be you. Julian reprimanded her, displeased. Celeste. Shut up. Humph. Like a husband and wife, working in tandem, huh? Fine, I'll get out. The way I came, that's the way I'll leave. Julian stopped my impulsive self. Hazel, you still have a fever, don't move around so much. I'll leave, can't I just leave? My fiery temper flared up, and naturally, I didn't care about anything. I grabbed my suitcase, dragging my weakened body out the door. I didn't expect Julian to chase me. He'd better not care about me. That way, our relationship could end cleanly. But if he, like before, rushed over to chase and comfort me, putting everything else aside, using every means to calm me down, then I couldn't guarantee I wouldn't soften. After all, Julian hadn't done anything truly out of line. He had only yelled at me a few times. It seemed as if he had been cleaning up my messes all along. Him losing his temper was also normal. Thinking this, I reached out and slapped myself. Spineless. The dilemma did end up chasing after me. Celeste followed behind him, and the two of them searched for me all over the streets, one after the other. It was the siest time of night, and I could have easily hidden in the crowd, and Julian would never have found me. But I still softened. I deliberately sat down on a less crowded bench. They spotted me instantly. At that moment, I was still a little smug. But the next second, Celeste suddenly gasped. Ah, it hurts. Julian turned around, and Celeste's eyes reddened. What's wrong? Is your old injury acting up? Celeste's old injury, I had heard her discussing it with Eleanor that day. She said it was an injury Celeste sustained while teaching Julian to ride a bike, and it would bother her from time to time. My heart sank. Then I watched, helpless, as Julian picked her up and sat her on a bench not far from me. Fine, if I say it's over this time, then it's really over. I stood up, pulling my suitcase, ready to leave. But the next second, an 8 or 9-year-old kid suddenly appeared, skateboarding past me. I wasn't paying attention and brushed against a nearby stone. Instantly, my forehead was drenched in blood. The kid ran off quickly, nowhere to be seen. I also had a cold, and my head felt dizzy. I was completely unable to go to the hospital to get patched up by myself. So, I called out to Julian. His expression was tense. But clearly, it wasn't because of me. I saw him carrying Celeste and walking towards me. Then, before I could even speak, he walked right past me again. And I clearly saw the triumph in Celeste's eyes. I could guarantee Julian heard my voice. It was just that between Celeste and me, he chose Celeste. Hospital farewell. Fortunately, my injury wasn't severe. The nurse gave me some basic treatment, and I was able to be discharged. As I was leaving, Julian suddenly appeared and blocked my path. I'm sorry, Celeste's old injury flared up just now. I couldn't attend to you. Are you okay? Is your injury serious? See, I told you. He knew I was hurt. It was just that when faced with a choice involving Celeste, he automatically ignored the other options. I took half a step back, maintaining a polite distance. Then I politely said, "I'm fine. I have to catch a flight, so I'll be going now." After saying that, I started to leave, but grabbed my wrist. "Hazel, what exactly are you angry about?" He seemed helpless, looking as if he genuinely didn't understand why I was angry. It was as if every time I got angry, he would just come to comfort me without asking why. He didn't know what I was angry about, he only knew to calm me down, to double his efforts to soothe me and proactively admit fault. Only then could we reconcile. But now it was different. This concerned my entire life. I couldn't casually entrust myself to a man with an ambiguous relationship. I repeated, "Let's forget about the engagement. When I get back, I'll explain it to my parents. Don't contact me again in the future." Julian held my hand, refusing to let go, until S's voice came from behind him. Only then did he release my hand. "Goodbye, Julian." Alumni. After returning, I deleted all of Julian's contact information. I also told our mutual friends not to mention anything about me. So, we hadn't seen each other for 3 months. We met again at an alumni gathering. He and Celeste, as seniors, were making a round of toasts and chatting with students from various graduating classes. When he saw me, he instantly looked flustered. Celeste gripped his wrist, signaling him not to lose his composure. Only then did he hold his wine glass more steadily. When he reached me, he whispered, "Hazel, I waited for you downstairs at your place for a long time. Why wouldn't you see me?" After speaking, he straightened up, smiled gently, and reverted to his meek and polite senior persona. Completely different from how he had begged to see me downstairs at my house. I forced a smile, drank the wine without an ounce of warmth, and then sat down. He then settled beside me, and no matter how much Celeste tried to pull him away, he wouldn't budge. Many of the classmates present knew about our relationship, and with us at a stalemate, everyone started whispering and discussing Julian and me. I didn't want people talking about me, so I gave Julian a stern warning. "Julian, don't push me. If you push me any further, I'm capable of anything." He smiled, a touch of fondness in his eyes. "Of course, I know you're capable of anything. It's fine, go ahead. I'll always have your back." He looked like a rogue, which was unusual. Furious, I grabbed the hand of the guy next to me. The guy flinched in surprise, his face instantly flushing. I continued my warning. "If you don't leave, I'll kiss him right here in front of everyone." Julian knew I would dare to do that. After all, when we first got together, it was at a similar event that I had publicly kissed him. After that, he complained that I was too casual, that I couldn't just kiss any guy, not even in a game. Of course, I wouldn't just kiss any man, kissing him had been a long-planned move. But now, saying all this was pointless. I just wanted him out of my sight. He was indeed jealous. When he left, he pulled his chair back with a loud scrape. After he left, the guy whose hand I was holding asked me, "Sis, had enough fun?" I just said, "Oh," and let go of his hand. The guy was my cousin, Leo, who had just returned from abroad. It was normal that Julian didn't recognize him. For the rest of the time, we still couldn't avoid being the topic of conversation. But to avoid drawing more attention, I didn't say anything. It wasn't until I was leaving that Julian walked over from beside my car. "Which hotel are you staying at? I'll take you back." I said, "No need." Julian moved sideways, blocking my hand from opening the car door. "Hazel, we were talking about marriage, can you really just let that go?" I nodded coldly. He persisted. "Stop acting like a child. I know you can't bear to let this relationship go. Can we start over?" Celeste is godmother's goddaughter, which makes her practically my sister. Of course, I need to look after her. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories. See you next time.